Today we are discussing whether or not you are outgunned if you're in the city and concealed carrying a 45 Colt single action army revolver. How's it going, guys, and welcome to another episode of Coffee Talk. My name is Chad and this is the Hopeful Homestead. And one of the common themes we talk about a lot on this channel is defending your family, and choosing what kind of firearm to do that with is a big important thing. And I've talked a lot about on this channel how much I love 45 Colt, how much I love revolvers and lever guns, and why I think 45 Colt is a very formidable round that is underappreciated in today's modern world. Today I wanted to specifically discuss when it comes to choosing to carry a 45 Colt single action army revolver as your main firearm for self-defense, even in an urban scenario. Yeah, this would be a little bit big to do that with. You could, but here in Florida, it's legal to do that. I could open carry this thing right down the middle of any urban street here in Florida, and there'd be no problem legally to do that. But tactically, you might want to conceal carry. So if you're trying to conceal carry, maybe you have a 3-inch barrel of something like this to where it's still a big old 45 Colt, heavy frame, single action army revolver. And in today's modern world, everyone will be telling you that you need to have, 18 rounds in a mag in the waistband carried semi-auto pistol with a couple of more 18 round mags stored on your waistband and on a belt, holster somewhere. And if you're in a scenario where you need that much ammunition to defend your family, you're already screwed because you only have a pistol in that scenario. Realistically, in that kind of a scenario where you need that much ammunition, you need to have a rifle. You need to be somewhere else. The vast majority of self-defense scenarios involving firearms in America involve the fight ending in 3 to 4 rounds being fired. And they always happen within 5 to 10 yards. So a single action army revolver where you've only got 5 shots or so to be able to make it count, that's more than enough for the vast majority of scenarios of self-defense where it's just a single threat presenting a threat to you. And again, this magical, perfect scenario people keep focusing on, I don't know what they're thinking. In a situation where, people are saying, oh, you have to pull that hammer first to be able to fire that single action revolver, and that's too slow. You're gonna be beaten to the punch and someone's gonna get a shot off on you first. What are we doing? Is the assailant and me squaring up and saying, all right, ready, set, go, and we both draw at the same time? And yeah, if that's happening, a striker fired, semi-auto pistol with a round in the chamber is gonna beat me to the punch. But that's not ever a scenario that happens. I like to know that my revolver is a deterrent. It is something that, say someone pulls a knife on me or my family, say someone is harassing or grabbing at my wife's purse or something. In that scenario, I can pull this real quick and cock the hammer plenty quick enough to be able to mean business and to make things count. But if someone pulls their gun before me, no matter what gun you have, if that attacker pulls their gun first on you and has it drawn and aimed at you, doesn't matter what gun you have, you are outgunned in that scenario because they are ready to fire and you're not. If you reach for your pistol, no matter what gun you have no matter how much ammunition it has in the mag, you're gonna be taken out, unfortunately. So the very harsh reality is if your attacker pulls their gun first on you, it doesn't matter what you have. You have to comply with their demands and try to find a moment where their attention is askew. And in that moment, you can draw your gun and be able to get a shot off quickly. And yeah, I can do that perfectly fine with a single action revolver, no problem. And you know what? I'm gonna have a 45 Colt heavy 250 to 300 grain bullet making contact with their torso that's gonna knock them down really quickly. That one shot I can get off with this is gonna matter more than some smaller caliber gun. And in the end, the quickness to fire, the amount of ammo you have at your disposal, the speed of semi-auto does not matter in a most real world scenarios where there's an attacker. Now for home defense, I do have a full-size semi-auto pistol with an 18 round mag at my nightstand. That is the one scenario where I see it makes a lot of sense to have a lot of capacity and semi-auto capability, because in the middle of the night, when you hear something downstairs and you got to grab your pistol and go defend your family, you don't know what you're encountering, you just know that it is a threat and that you will be able to have your gun drawn ahead of time and ready to fire. And in that scenario, you don't know how many attackers it could be. It's a much more likely scenario that it could be multiple attackers with a home defense scenario, so you need more ammunition for that. So that's the scenario where I think, this is not enough necessarily. It can do the job in a perfect scenario, but in a home defense scenario, a semi-auto, high capacity, 9mm pistol is what works best for that scenario. But out in public, the high capacity is not going to matter. If you're in a scenario where you've got multiple attackers with guns drawn, trying to rob you and your family, trying to steal your car, trying to take your wife's purse or something, and you guys are held at gunpoint by multiple attackers, it doesn't matter what gun you have and how much ammo you have. If you pull that thing to try to fire, you're gonna die. They're gonna shoot you. They're gonna shoot your family. It wouldn't be wise to pull your gun in that scenario. It would be most wise to comply with their demands and wait for a moment where their attention is askew to be able to pull your gun and fire. And in that moment, this gun will be fine for that. Take that for what it is. I think it's a real world approach to thinking about a self-defense scenario that is actually what is more likely to happen, not some fictitious scenario where draw times and speed of fire and speed of repeat shots on a piece of paper look better for a semi-auto gun with more rounds in the mag. That doesn't matter. If this is the type of gun you're more proficient with, which I am, I'm more accurate with this thing than I am with a semi-auto pistol, and I feel more confident with this. And so for me, this is what I choose to carry a lot of times. Certainly out here on the property, I carry these with me in my truck all the time, and they would be what I would defend my family with if I had to in a pinch, in addition to my snub-nosed revolver that I pocket carry as well. You're not outgunned if you've got a single action Army 45 Colt revolver, even in an urban setting. But let me know what you thought in the comments. I always appreciate reading what you guys have to say down there. And again, my name is Chad. This is the Hopeful Homestead. And if you feel like sticking around, I got a video right here talking all about why I love 45 Colt and 22 long rifles so much. So go check that out, and I'll see you over in that video. Thanks, guys.